Number 10. Starting off with Charlie Sheen, this former 2.5 Men star has been known for his wild antics since he first landed on the scene. He's been vocal about his substance abuse, bad relationships, and controversial opinions, all while having an apparent disregard for others' feelings. He's not afraid to share his innermost thoughts with the world, and is always making headlines for the latest shenanigan. Whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying he knows how to make an impact. As they say, live life like it's a Charlie Sheen movie. Unless, of course, you prefer to get some sleep. In that case, it's probably best you stay away from this wild card. On to number 9, Lindsay Lohan. The once beloved child actress fell hard and fast from grace. This Mean Girls star had a string of erratic behavior, legal issues, and failed projects that made her impossible to work with in Hollywood. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, her probation was revoked in 2010 and she served a grand total of 14 days in jail. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But at least we can always look back on her glory days with Marky Mark and his brother Donnie in The Parent Trap. Nostalgia. All jokes aside, we hope Miss Lohan is finally getting the help she needs and can make a comeback. We've all been rooting for you, Lindsay. On to number 8, Shia LaBeouf. The former Disney Channel star has gained notoriety for his performance art stunts, drunken brawls, and unacceptable on-set behavior. Despite his undoubted talent, the actor's antics have led many to believe he is too much trouble to hire. But if he ever does get his act together, LaBeouf could be a major asset to any cast. After all, it's not too often you find someone talented enough to pull off so many outrageous stunts. We think he deserves a second chance. Number 7, Terrence Howard. This Iron Man star reportedly has a difficult time getting along with castmates due to his volatile temper and violent outbursts. He also has a reputation for showing up late or not at all when called upon for performances or press appearances. Maybe Tony Stark should have invited someone else to the Avengers. At least that's what some people say about Terrence Howard, but hey, you can't judge a book by its cover. In recent years, he has been focusing on his family and philanthropic foundations, so maybe he's just misunderstood. Who knows? We'll never know what could have been if an alternate actor had been cast in the role. Still, one thing is for sure, this Hollywood heavyweight isn't going anywhere anytime soon. He's still making waves and proving that even bad press can be good press when you're a movie star. Who knows what kind of mischief you'll get into next? We can only wait and see. Keep your eyes open, guys. You never know when Terrence Howard will show up. He's an enigma, wrapped in a mystery, shrouded in Hollywood glitz and glamour. Number 6, Amanda Bynes. This former Nickelodeon starlet had her share of troubles in Hollywood and is still working to rebuild her career after a string of run-ins with the law, mental health issues, and bizarre Twitter rants. But that doesn't mean she hasn't been able to stay in the public spotlight and continue her rise as a fashion icon. She's been seen wearing everything from bright pinks and purples to eclectic prints, showing us all that she's still got it when it comes to style. It looks like we can expect big things from Amanda Bynes in the near future. Just don't expect to see her in any courtroom dramas anytime soon. Unless, of course, it's for a fashionista-inspired episode. That would be something. Number 5, Pauly Shore. This once beloved comedian is now a fixture on the Hollywood no list. It seems his relentless self-promotion and narcissism has made him impossible to work with. He's like a virus that won't go away, but every now and then he shows up in some obscure B-movie or comedy special as if to remind us of why the 90s were so great. We've all been there for the ride, from the glory days of Biodome to the present day. So let's give Pauly a little credit for sticking around. He may not be the brightest bulb in the lamp, but his sense of humor and hair are certainly memorable. We can all relate to him in some way. After all, we're just trying to get by and laugh at life's absurdity. So don't write off Pauly Shore just yet. He may surprise us with a comeback. In the meantime, we can still enjoy his 90s classics and share in a good laugh. Who knows, maybe one day Pauly will make it back to the top and be appreciated for his comedic genius. Until then, here's hoping he continues to bring smiles to our faces. It's hard to deny Pauly Shore will always be a cultural icon. He may have been overtaken by the likes of Seth Rogen and Will Ferrell, but no one will ever forget the days of Encino Man and Son-in-Law. His unique brand of comedy still has us laughing, even if it's just to make fun of ourselves. Even when Pauly's not on screen, he still manages to amuse us with his antics. We may never know what this former comedian will do next, but we can be sure that whatever he does, we'll continue to love him for all the entertainment he's brought us over the years. On to number 4, Kiefer Sutherland. The 24 star is known for his volatile temper and has had multiple run-ins with the law due to alcohol-related related incidents. His reputation as a wild partier also leaves some people hesitant to hire him for projects. But Sutherland is more than his reputation. He's a talented actor, producer, and director. His recent work in Designated Survivor proves that he's still got it even after all the drama. So don't count him out yet. He might just be the wild card you need to make your project stand out, but make sure to bring extra security. Number 3, Alec Baldwin. The 30 Rock actor has had a long history of making rude comments and having aggressive outbursts at co-workers, journalists, and photographers alike, all of which make him an undesirable candidate for any party. Though he does provide plenty of comic relief with his hilarious roles, it might be best to just keep him off the guest list entirely. Just in case you were thinking about inviting him, here's a friendly warning. Baldwin has written an open letter to New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio asking for greater protection from the paparazzi, so you can expect to have some uninvited photographers at your event should he show up. Better be prepared for all that unwanted attention if you chose to invite him. Otherwise, it's probably best to keep Baldwin away from your next get-together. He may have a deep baritone voice and lots of witty one-liners, but that doesn't mean he should be invited. On second thought, maybe it's best to keep your distance from Alec Baldwin altogether. He may have been a great actor in his heyday, but the potential for unwanted drama is just too high when it comes to having him at any event. Number 2, Mel Gibson. Once known as one of Hollywood's leading men, this actor fell from grace following his anti-Semitic tirade and malicious comments about women. Many studios refused to hire him due to his poor temperament and offensive behavior. But should we really be so quick to write off someone's career completely? Maybe it's time for Hollywood to give Mel Gibson another chance. After all, if he can learn from his past behavior and turn his life around, why shouldn't we at least give him an opportunity to prove himself? Who knows? Maybe it'll be the comeback story of the decade. Of course, it's up to the studios and filmmakers whether or not they want to take a chance on Mel Gibson, but if we believe in second chances and giving people an opportunity to redeem themselves, then why can't we give him one? We could be pleasantly surprised with what he comes up with, so let's not write Mel Gibson off just yet. After all, a second chance could be the best thing for everyone involved. It's better to have learned from our mistakes and moved on than to dwell in the past. There may still be time for Mel Gibson to show us what he's really made of. Number 1, Julia Roberts. The big star has made headlines for the huge paychecks she takes home for even small on-screen roles. But Roberts apparently is a diva too. Sources revealed that the crew on Hook gave her the name Tinkerhell. We don't know why, and it's doubtful anyone wants to tell us. Maybe she's asked for too many favors, maybe she just has a bit of a temper, we may never know. Either way, this is one nickname that Roberts probably wishes had stayed under the radar. And it's not just Roberts though. The late Heath Ledger also had a nickname during filming of The Dark Knight, Mumbles. This was reportedly because he mumbled while delivering his lines. We guess that wasn't quite the method acting style Batman creator Christopher Nolan was looking for. It looks like what happens on the set stays on the set. With these nicknames though, it's probably best that they stay offset for all eternity. Even if you're a Hollywood superstar like Roberts or Ledger, where it looks like nobody is safe from getting a nickname that sticks with them forever, no matter how much stardom they have. It's almost like what happens in kindergarten, but with much bigger paychecks. We can only imagine how many nicknames fly around the set when actors get together for a film. Probably best we don't know them all. 10, Charlie Sheen. People magazine says that Sheen's heavy drinking made him harder to work with on the set of 2.5 Men. Warner Bros. Legal team wrote that Sheen was having a series of well-chronicled and increasingly erratic outbursts in a letter to his lawyer. Sheen also lost weight, missed rehearsals, and made inflammatory comments about 2.5 Men co-creator Chuck Lorre, according to the studio. Albeit the studio guaranteed it allowed Sheen numerous opportunities to tidy himself up in recovery. The entertainer neglected to proceed with those endeavors. For the show's final 4 seasons, they fired Sheen and replaced him with Ashton Kutcher. Matt Lauer later heard Sheen say that he regrets ruining 2.5 Men. At first, Sheen tried to downplay his indiscretions, but in an interview with Matt Lauer on the Today Show, he claimed that his behavior was nothing more than having a good time. But then again, when it comes to partying and wild behavior, no one doesn't quit like Charlie Sheen. He took the phrase winning to a whole new level. So if you thought getting kicked off your hit show was bad, just be glad you weren't partying with Charlie Sheen. Unless, well, you know what I mean. Number 9, Mike Myers. The comedian may seem fun based on his silly roles, but he's apparently far from it. I honestly root against him, an executive said according to Entertainment Weekly. The director of Wayne's World also joked maybe he could open up like a children's hospital to clean up his rep. Feeling threatened by Dana Carvey, Myers reportedly argued on set. Well, his career has remained strong and he continues to make us laugh, so maybe all the rumors should just stay in Wayne's World. Or at least off screen. We'll stick to the silly Mike Myers we know and love, because let's be real, who wants to see Dr. Evil at a children's hospital? Yikes. Number 8, Sharon Stone. Golden Boy director Puppy Avati publicly slammed Sharon Stone. It was a negotiation that bordered on ridiculousness concerning embarrassing details. He told The Hollywood Reporter as if Italy was a third world country. By the way, we do have electricity in Italy. The director also claimed Stone would leave the set unannounced and have her manager call them with more demands. She denied these claims. Stone's response, what would Puppy know about electricity in the first place? He's never been known to a man of sparks. He's never been known to a man of sparks. Ouch. That was some Italian style sass right there. We can only imagine what other zingers she had up her sleeve. It looks like these two were in a long and trying negotiation. Power to the people, or in this case, power to the stars. When asked about the negotiations following her comments, Stone simply responded with a sly smile, let's just say I got exactly what I wanted. It looks like no amount of electricity or Italian sass was gonna stop Sharon Stone from scoring the deal that she wanted. Talk about a power move. So if you ever find yourself in a negotiation with an Italian director, remember, don't mess with Sharon Stone. She has the power and the wit to get what she wants. You've been warned. Number 7, Katherine Heigl. Deserved or not, Katherine has a reputation as one of the most difficult actresses. It started in 2008 when she criticized Judd Apatow's Knocked Up, a movie she starred in, as being a little sexist, sparking a feud with Apatow and co-star Seth Rogen. Her reputation took another hit when she disrespected Grey's Anatomy's writers by claiming the writing wasn't good enough for her to be considered for an Emmy. Although Heigl apologized for both comments, her reputation persists. But here's the thing. Despite her reputation, Heigl continues to get roles. She has appeared in a variety of movies and television shows since 2008, including 27 Dresses, Life as We Know It, Suits, State of Affairs, and Doubt. So if she's so difficult to work with, why are producers and directors still willing to hire her? Perhaps it's because despite all the controversy that follows her, Heigl is a talented actress, one who can easily bring out the emotion and depth of a character. She has an innate ability to take on any role she's given and make it her own. Number 6, Bruce Willis. Resisting rumors about his difficult nature for years, Bruce is known for playing action heroes and occasional dramatic roles, like The Sixth Sense. Director Kevin Smith said working with him on Cop Out was soul-crushing. At the wrap party, Smith said, I want to thank everyone who worked on the film except for Bruce Willis, who is a effing dick. Willis is a notoriously poor interview subject as well. The third Expendables film dropped him for demanding a higher fee. Sylvester Stallone tweeted in reference to the incident, greedy and lazy, a sure formula for career failure. Apparently bad guy stereotypes of Willis apply in real life too. Despite his reputation for being a handful, he's an undeniable talent and one of the most successful actors of all time. He might not be winning any awards for congeniality, but he still gets the job done. Don't mess with Bruce Willis. He's got an attitude and he's not afraid to use it. Well, maybe he's scared to do interviews, but hey, he still knows how to bring the heat on screen, and that's what counts in the end, right? On to number 5, Julia Roberts. The big star has made headlines for the huge paychecks she takes home for even small on-screen roles. But Roberts apparently is a diva too. Sources revealed that the crew on Hook gave her the name Tinker Hell. We don't know why, and it's doubtful anyone wants to tell us. Maybe she asked for too many favors, or maybe she just has a bit of a temper. We may never know. Either way, this is one nickname that Roberts probably wishes had stayed under the radar. It's not just Roberts though. The late Heath Ledger also had a nickname during filming of The Dark Knight, Mumbles. This was reportedly because he mumbled while delivering his lines. I guess that wasn't quite the method acting style Batman creator Christopher Nolan was looking for. It looks like what happens on the set stays on the set. With these nicknames though, it's probably best that they stay off set for all eternity. Even if you're a Hollywood superstar like Roberts or Ledger, where it looks like nobody is safe for getting a nickname that sticks with them forever, no matter how much stardom they have. It's almost like what happens in kindergarten, but with much bigger paychecks. We can only imagine how many nicknames fly around the set when actors get together for a film. Probably best we don't know about them all. Number 4, Alec Baldwin. Reportedly a nightmare to work with on the set of NBC's 30 Rock, Alec Baldwin often showed up to set late, yelled at cast and crew, and complained about something as innocuous as dry air. His reputation for being difficult to work with goes back much further. The Week compiled a list of his many notable public freakouts, too numerous and confusing to list. But if you ever find yourself in the same room as Baldwin, just remember, no complaining about dry air. You don't want to be on the wrong end of his volcanic temper. Good luck, or better yet, avoid him altogether. It's probably best for your safety and sanity. After all, it's not like Baldwin is known for his calming influence. In fact, he just might be the angriest person you'll ever meet. He's been accused of everything from throwing phones to verbally berating hecklers in public. You don't want any part of that. Number 3, Lindsay Lohan. The actress has publicly struggled with addiction and had multiple run-ins with the law, so it's not surprising that she's hard to work with. According to the New York Times, Lohan regularly canceled appointments while working on the canyons. She'd also reportedly get upset when filming certain scenes and then hide. Still, despite the drama, Lohan has managed to carve out a successful career. She's earned praise from fans and critics alike for her work in films like Mean Girls and The Parent Trap. Lohan may be a bit hard to work with, but at least she's good at her job. All in all, it seems like her bad behavior is worth the trouble. After all, she knows how to make an entrance and an impact. Number 2, Russell Crowe. The Oscar winner has also been known for being difficult. Nicole Laporte wrote a book titled The Men Who Would Be King, an almost epic tale of moguls, movies, and a company called DreamWorks that revealed some of his more difficult traits. She claims the actor called producer Branko Lustig at 3 a.m. and called him a mother effer. The actor was allegedly angry and thought his assistants were being lowballed. Afterwards, Lustig reportedly told Steven Spielberg, "I'm leaving. Russell wants to kill me. I'm leaving." Needless to say, there was a lot of tension on the set that day. Thankfully, none of it escalated further and Lustig stayed on. We're sure he had more than a few stories to tell his friends afterwards. After all, you don't get fired by Russell Crowe every day. So if you ever find yourself in a disagreement with an A-list actor, make sure to keep your cool and remember it could always be worse. You could end up like Lustig on the wrong side of Crowe's ire. And finally, number 1, Christian Bale. A devoted actor, Bale seems to lose himself in roles. His dedication can be frighteningly intense, most famously resulting in his highly publicized on-set meltdown while filming Terminator Salvation. He dropped F-bomb after F-bomb while railing against the director of photography for walking through his line of vision during an important acting sequence. Bale's performance in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight proved he was worth the drama. After all, who else could play a superhero so convincingly? He has certainly earned his right to an epic rant every now and then. But it's not just on-screen roles that Christian Bale transfixed. He also loves being a dad. He has a daughter Emmeline and a son named Joseph with his wife C.B. Blazek. Bale loves spending time with them, especially when it involves playing soccer or going for family bike rides. Something he does to relax after intense days on set. His commitment to fatherhood speaks volumes about how devoted he is to those in his life, both in front of and behind the camera. No matter what role he plays, Christian Bale is sure to pull it off with gusto. Whether it's saving Gotham City as Batman or standing up for his family, he has a clear idea of how things should be done. You can only sit back and enjoy the show. Number 10, Sofia Vergara. Vergara seems like a ray of sunshine. Her smile is contagious. She can easily light up the room, but not everything is as good as it seems. Sofia Vergara's brothers are victims of substance abuse and violence. In 1989, her older brother lost his life during a botched kidnapping attempt. Her younger brother Julio slowly slipped into substance addiction until he was finally deported back to Colombia in 2011. It's a dramatic twist of fate for the otherwise lighthearted Vergara. No one is ever truly immune to life's struggles, no matter how bright they might seem. Let this be a reminder that even in dark times, we can choose to look on the bright side. That's exactly what Vergara chose to do. She uses her comedic talents and her upbeat personality to spread joy and positivity in an effort to turn such a tragic story into something more uplifting. Despite all odds, she remains cheerful and strong, just like her brothers would have wanted her to be. Sometimes life throws us curveballs, but with enough strength and courage, you can always overcome them. Number 9, Woody Harrelson. Woody, many would agree, is a talented dude who has near limitless potential. His acting chops are already legendary, but how many of you know that Woody Harrelson's father, Charles Harrelson, was last century's most notorious hitman? Charles Harrelson committed the first ever recorded assassination of a federal judge. He once unalived a carpet salesman over a disagreement for mere $1,500. His life is even more dramatic than his son's acting roles. No matter he was the inspiration for Woody's iconic dark characters. Well, it sure looks like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this case. People say like father, like son, and in some ways I guess that is the case. Number 8, Rihanna. The anti-singer woke up one day and came to a shocking truth. Her beloved father was not just an addict, he was also a sex addict. Ronald Fenty had 2 daughters and a son that he had never told Rihanna about. He was also a master of disguise and had been married 4 times in the past without his family knowing. It was a dramatic revelation that changed Rihanna's life forever. She channeled her emotions into her music, creating some of the most powerful anthems about love, loss, betrayal, and heartache. No matter how hard Ronald tried to hide his secrets, he couldn't keep them hidden from the world any longer. Rihanna may have experienced tragedy in her past, but she turned it into something beautiful with her music. Rihanna's story is a powerful example of how life can take us on unexpected journeys. Despite the tragedy she faced, she didn't let it define her. Instead, she used it as motivation to create something truly amazing and inspiring. She embraced what happened to her in order to write music that resonates with fans around the world. That's why we're so lucky to have an artist like Rihanna in our lives, someone who continues to use her experiences to bring light into the darkness. So don't be afraid of your past. Look at it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Number 7, Kathy Griffin. Kathy seems like she is all about laughs and smiles, but never judge a book by its cover. Her autobiography, My Life on the D-List, details how her brother was inappropriate with her. This led to long-term trauma she is still dealing with, and Kenny Griffin was later sent to prison for physically abusing his wife and passed away there. It's a dramatic story that her fans are still trying to wrap their heads around, but Kathy Griffin didn't let this tragedy keep her down. She used it as fuel and kept pushing forward with determination despite the odds being stacked against her. These days she's stronger than ever and continues to make us laugh with her witty and punny jokes. Her strength in adversity is an inspiration to many lucky enough to enjoy her comedic genius. Number 6, Richard Pryor. The comedian was the son of a prostitute who raised him in his mother's house, which also served as a brothel. When his mother gave up on him, Pryor was raised by his abusive grandmother. Richard Pryor's father was an absentee and a hustler. Luckily, the little guy managed to turn a lifetime of pain into comedy. Pryor had an uncanny ability to take frustrating situations and turn them into stories that made people laugh. His comedic style was often dramatic with a sharp wit that pushed the boundaries of conventional comedy. He also included plenty of puns in his routines, giving audiences something extra to chuckle about. Richard Pryor truly had a unique talent for making light out of the darkest times, and though he endured numerous personal hardships during his life, Richard Pryor's sense of humor has never dampened. It only grew stronger. He used his struggles as inspiration for his comedy, and it made him one of the most successful comedians in history. Whether he was delivering off-the-cuff jokes or planned lines from beloved movies like Blazing Saddles, Richard always had something funny to say. And from his early days in small clubs, Pryor grew to become an international superstar with legions of fans all over the world, and his legacy as a comedic genius will live forever. Number 5, Mariah Carey. The famous singer's sister had been suffering from a bipolar disorder since decades. This has given her a very dark secret to hold, and she had been arrested for promiscuous acts. Although it's a very serious and dramatic situation, she hasn't let it get her down. She still finds things to laugh about and has been able to make light of some pretty tough circumstances. Her sense of humor is one of the qualities that have really helped her cope with life. They say laughter is the best medicine after all. Number 4, Rose McGowan, the famous actress who likes having her past remain hidden. Apparently she was raised by a sex cult called the Children of God. Her parents and the rest of the cultists believed in free love, so she saw rampant abuse and mistreatment of women, but left when she was a teenager. Rose is a dramatic example of someone who escaped a life filled with abuse. It's truly inspiring that she achieved success after going through such struggles. She's an inspiration to many, proving that it's possible to overcome difficult odds and still reach your dreams. Her story proves that you can survive even the most challenging circumstances and have a better future. So let's take a moment to appreciate Rose and her dramatic story of escaping the clutches of a cult. She is an amazing example of resilience and strength that we can all learn from. Don't forget to thank your lucky stars for having the freedom to make decisions in life. It's something we must never take for granted. On to number 3, Robert Downey Jr. Robert's substance use-filled life almost destroyed his career and personal life. It was his father, Robert Downey Sr., who first forced his 8-year-old son to try substances and alcohol. Luckily, both men are sober now and regret their past actions, but Robert Downey Jr.'s story reminds us that with a little inspiration and a lot of luck, your story can take a dramatic turn for the better. There's hope still. Sometimes we need to go through dark times to appreciate the light, and while there's no denying that addiction can bring darkness into our lives, remember that brighter days are coming. On to number 2, Charlize Theron. Charlize grew up on a farm in South Africa, and one night, her parents got into an altercation which tragically led to her father passing away on the spot. Gerda Theron never faced any charges, and Charlize rarely talks about the incident. But when asked about it, she admitted that it was a dramatic event in her life. In hindsight, she believes that the incident helped shape her into the strong woman she is today. She says, "Sometimes you have to go through some drama to find your own power." Indeed, the incident proved to be a catalyst for an incredible journey of success and self-discovery. The passing away of her father had a profound effect on Charlize and propelled her onto the path of stardom. Today she is one of Hollywood's most successful actors with countless awards and recognitions under her belt. Through it all, she credits her strength to having gone through such a dramatic event early on in life. Who would have thought that such a tragedy could become the driving force for greatness? Charlize is living proof that it's not always doom and gloom. Sometimes you can take the lemons life throws at you and make some sweet lemonade. It's amazing what one dramatic event can do to transform someone's life. Charlize's story shows us that even in our darkest moments, there is light if we look hard enough. And she proved that with courage and determination, we can overcome any obstacle in our way. So never give up on your dreams. It might just take a little drama here and there to get where you want to be. After all, fortune favors the bold. And finally, number 1, Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan inherits his knack for risk-taking from his parents. His father was a secret agent working for the Nationalist Guard. The two met when his father busted Chan's then soon-to-be mother for substance possession. Even though they were on opposite sides of the law, it was love at first sight. Little did they know that their dramatic union would spawn one of the greatest action stars of all time. From his parents, Jackie Chan inherited his affinity for danger and death-defying stunts. He's been performing incredible feats of daring throughout his entire career, which has spanned over 5 decades. If there's something crazy to do on a movie set, you can bet your bottom dollar that Jackie's game. His impressive resume includes fighting off hundreds of bad guys in The Protector, scaling skyscrapers in Police Story 2, and even surviving a plane crash in Project, a Part 2. That's what makes him such an icon. He's not scared to put his life on the line for a good action scene. The unique style and charm of Jackie Chan is legendary. His combination of martial arts, comedic chops, and death-defying stunts have made him an international superstar. Even at the age of 65, he continues to thrill audiences with his larger-than-life presence, proving that lightning can indeed strike twice. It's no wonder why we love him so much. Without a doubt, Jackie Chan will go down in history as one of the greatest action stars ever. Number 10, Bill Cosby. One of the most infamous examples of an actor who ruined his career is Bill Cosby, known as America's Dad. After a decades-long career in comedy, he had an equally long history of misconduct that came to light in 2014. Cosby was accused of dozens of counts of assault, leading to his conviction and imprisonment in 2018. He was released in 2021. Still, it remains unlikely that his career will ever recover. Cosby's dramatic downfall serves as a warning for any aspiring actor. Not all the glitter is gold. A few bad decisions can lead to life-altering consequences, and it's important to be mindful of the choices you make in your career. Even if you think you're invincible, you never know when it might all come crashing down. Better to be safe than sorry. This is also true of other professions, so whether you're an actor or a banker, always beware of the potential outcomes of your decisions. And remember, don't get too caught up in fame and fortune. There may be a price to pay for living the high life. On to number 9, Lori Loughlin. Another actor whose career tanked overnight, who may still yet make a comeback, is Lori Loughlin. Laurie, whose most notable role was as Aunt Becky in Full House, was convicted of conspiracy to commit fraud in 2020 and served 2 months in jail for her part in the 2019 admissions scandal. In the scandal, wealthy parents paid bribes to get their children accepted into prestigious universities. When she was first accused, she was fired from the Full House reboot Fuller House, as well as from When Calls the Heart. However, post-jail time, she did appear as her When Calls the Heart character in the show's spin-off When Hope Calls. And recently it was announced she would star in Great American Families Fall into Winter, her first starring role since the scandal. However, she has not returned to any roles of the same caliber as that of Fuller House. Though fans have been divided on the issue, Laughlin seems to be trying to make a dramatic comeback. Time will tell if Aunt Becky can rise from her ashes or if this is one role that will remain forever shelved. Number 8. Felicity Huffman. Huffman was similarly convicted for her role in The College Scam, serving just 11 days in prison in 2019. She has struggled more than Laughlin to find roles since, as tabloid OK reports, she was set to star in an ABC pilot in 2020, though there has been no news about it since. It's safe to say her career has been nothing short of a dramatic roller coaster since the scandal. Hopefully, Huffman will be able to get back on the Hollywood track soon. In the meantime, she can take solace in the fact that at least she didn't have to serve as much time as Aunt Becky. Number 7. Jussie Smollett. Jussie made headlines in early 2019 for experiencing a hate crime in Chicago, except as it turned out, Smollett had actually staged the attack. He was then fired from his hit show Empire, which was in its 5th season. Charges were filed against him for making a false police report and wasting police resources. A 2021 trial found him guilty of 5 out of the 6 counts he'd been charged with, and he was sentenced to 150 days in county jail. He was released on bond after just 6 days and later made a return to Hollywood in B-Boy Blues, this time behind the camera. He has no acting projects lined up, though he has appeared at events like the 2022 BET Awards. The Smollett story is a dramatic example of the consequences of lying to police. While many jokes and memes made light of the situation, it's important to remember that making false reports can have serious repercussions. If you're ever tempted to tell a white lie, don't let yourself fall into the same trap as Jussie Smollett. It might be smooth sailing now, but drama could be on the horizon. No matter what you're trying to hide, whether it's a minor misdemeanor or something more serious, lying to the police is never a good idea. That's what Jussie Smollett learned the hard way. The Empire actor who was charged with staging a hate crime in 2019 that made headlines around the world and resulted in dramatic consequences. His career has yet to fully recover from the incident. On to number 6, Hartley Sawyer. Hartley was similarly fired from The Flash in 2020 after his old racist, misogynistic, and hateful tweets surfaced on social media. More than one tweet referred to assaulting women. Sawyer apologized on Instagram. "My words, irrelevant of being meant with an intent of humor, were hurtful and unacceptable. I am ashamed I was capable of these really horrible attempts to get attention at that time. I regret them deeply. This was not acceptable behavior. These were words I threw out at the time with no thought or recognition of the harm my words could do, and now have done today. However, the damage was done and he has no upcoming projects." Some may say that his career is in the gutter for good, but one dramatic tweet has sparked hope among fans of Sawyer. "My comeback begins now." Let's just call it a comeback dab. If nothing else, Sawyer is sure to bring a bit of drama back to Hollywood. He could be the next great star to rise from the ashes. Only time will tell. So don't count out Hartley yet. It's too early to make any predictions, but we'll have to wait and see what this comeback dab leads to. On to number 5, Roseanne Barr. Roseanne was also fired from the Roseanne reboot after making an offensive comment about Barack Obama's advisor Valerie Jarrett, which ABC's Entertainment President Channing Dungey called abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values. The show was canceled and then came back as The Conners, with Roseanne's character killed off. Barr's career never recovered, though this month it was announced that she would appear in a new comedy special on Fox Nation next year. It was a dramatic fall from grace that many say overshadowed the comedic genius of her early years, but if nothing else, it proves that words can have consequences and no one should take them lightly. Then again, Barr probably never expected to get burned by her own words quite so dramatically. It's almost poetic justice, or as Roseanne herself might say, sometimes life is stranger and funnier than fiction. Either way, it's an important reminder to always be mindful of the power of our words. Number 4, Michael Richards. Another actor to go on a extreme tirade that ruined his career Michael Richards. After becoming a household name playing Kramer on Seinfeld, he re-entered a successful career in stand-up comedy. But in 2006, at one of his shows, he went on a racist rant against audience members who were heckling him. The video made the rounds online, and Richards stepped away from performing. He did apologize, but even his apology was mocked for being insincere. He later briefly appeared on Curb Your Enthusiasm with the rest of the Seinfeld cast, as well as in some other small roles. He then had a larger role in the one-season canceled 2013 sitcom Kirstie, but it did not succeed in relaunching his career. Since then, he has appeared in only one small film. In the end, Michael Richards' dramatic rant was a career ender. He is now mostly known for that one moment in time and little else. What could have been a successful comeback story turned out to be just another tragic Hollywood tale of what not to do. It's safe to say he won't be winning any Oscars anytime soon, but it certainly makes for good drama. That's one way of looking at it. Number 3, Jason Mitchell. Jason rose to prominence over the 2010s in films like Straight Outta Compton, Keanu, and Kong Skull Island. He was set to star in the Netflix movie Desperados, but was fired after allegations of misconduct, including, according to The Hollywood Reporter, making highly inappropriate remarks to 2 female co-stars while lingering close to their quarters. He was then fired from the 3rd season of Lena Waithe's series The Chi, also due to claims of misconduct on set, and dropped by his agency. Mitchell was accused by showrunner Ayanna Floyd Davis and co-star Tiffany Boone, though they were not the only ones to make complaints about his behavior. Mitchell's career stagnated, and then in 2020 he was arrested after being found with firearms and substances. However, in 2021 he appeared in one small film, and it was announced that he would executive produce and star in 2 new projects. So time will tell if he's able to make a comeback. It's certainly been a dramatic few years for Mitchell, and his story could be seen as an example of the power of Hollywood to both make and break careers. You can't help but wonder what's next for him. Only time will tell. This casts a light on the sometimes unforgiving nature of show business, and it remains to be seen whether Jason will be able to overcome this latest hurdle in his career. On to number 2, Kevin Spacey. Kevin is another example of someone who ruined their career through assault. He starred in the Emmy Award-winning role of Frank Underwood in House of Cards, but Spacey's career quickly derailed after Anthony Rapp made assault allegations against him. Soon, other people came forward and alleged inappropriate behavior, harassment, and assault, and Spacey was promptly fired from the Netflix series. Netflix also scrapped his planned film Gore, and in an unprecedented move, Christopher Plummer was recast in his role in the already complete All the Money in the World. Reshoots took 9 days, and Plummer was nominated for an Oscar for the role. More recently, Spacey was ordered to pay $31 million to the production company for House of Cards because he was also accused of misconduct behind the scenes. And finally, number 1, Danny Masterson. Netflix fired Danny Masterson from The Ranch, on which he also served as an executive producer, after reports surfaced in late 2017 alleging that 4 women had accused him of assault during the early 2000s. As a result of ongoing discussions, Netflix and the producers have written Danny Masterson out of The Ranch, the streaming service said in a December 2017 statement. Yesterday was his last day on the show, and production will resume in early 2018 without him. In 2018, Danny was arrested and charged with misconduct. His case ended in a mistrial in 2022, and he's maintained his innocence. Number 10, Unloyalty. The revelations of infidelity in his marriage to Princess Diana left him, and now Queen, deeply unpopular. While he has managed to regain some positive sentiment in the British public, he remains less esteemed than many other members of the royal family. A poll showed in April 2022 that nearly half of Britons think Charles should let his son Prince William be the next king. And YouGov polling ranks him as the 7th most popular royal, behind his late mother, daughter-in-law Kate, son William, late father Prince Philip, sister Princess Anne, and niece Zara Tindall. Among millennial-age Britons, he ranks 12th. Number 9, donation scandal. Most recently, he has been embroiled in controversy over donations to his charities. The Sunday Times of London reported that the half-brothers of a controversial figure made a $1.2 million donation to the Prince of Wales Charitable Fund back in 2013. Charles's official office, Clarence House, said the royal did not personally solicit the donation. On to number 8, jealousy. The first major brush with disapproving public opinion came amid his marriage to Princess Diana, the 25th anniversary of whose passing the world recently marked. The HBO documentary The Princess shows archival footage of the duo touring Australia that suggests he was jealous at how much more popular she was. Diana confirmed that Charles envied the public's devotion to his wife in her explosive '95 interview with Martin Bashir. The pressure on us both as a couple with the media was phenomenal and misunderstood by a great many people. She said, "We'd be going around Australia, for instance, and all you could hear was, 'Oh, she's on the other side.'" Diana subsequently clarified that the waiting crowds were expressing their disappointment that Charles was closer to them rather than Diana. Someone close to you acting out of jealousy towards you is never fun, and considering he was a future king at the time, I'm sure this hurt his ego, even though it shouldn't have. He should have been proud of how publicly accepted his future queen was, but I guess not everyone, even a king, likes to see people winning, right? On to number 7, suspicions. On July 29, 1981, 750 million people in more than 70 countries watched then Prince Charles marry Lady Diana Spencer at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Although the marriage ended in divorce in '96 and Diana tragically lost her life in a car accident a year later, their wedding remains one of the most iconic moments in royal history. The celebration set the scene for future royal weddings, including those of William and Catherine Middleton in 2011 and Harry and Meghan in 2018, but let's not skim over the fact that just because they had a dreamy wedding, their relationship was the same way. As we all know, it was revealed soon enough that they were having troubles in their marriage. One of the many troubles being to stay faithful to each other. The extramarital affairs were the biggest giveaway that this marriage was not a happy one for either Charles or Diana. According to Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morton, the young princess had strong suspicions of her husband's relationship with Camilla from the time they were engaged, and she bought her former lover a piece of jewelry customized with an inside joke. Red flag. However, those close to the princess denied the affair, causing her to question her own sanity. The Queen Mother even told her friends Diana was a silly girl for imagining such things. Despite this, Diana pressed on with her belief and even confronted Camilla about the affair. Number 6, uncertainties. They'd seen each other just 13 times before the proposal. Diana later told her biographer Andrew Morton that she responded with giggles as she thought he was joking, but the prince was deadly serious, emphasizing the earnestness of his proposal by reminding her that one day she would be queen. But this very sudden engagement may have been a mistake. Both Charles and Diana had second thoughts about their engagement, and Charles was concerned about Diana's mood swings. According to journalist Tina Brown, he was desperately worried about how thin she was getting. Charles's biographer Sally notes he ultimately put it down to pre-wedding jitters. Diana, on the other hand, was troubled by Charles's enduring friendship with former girl Camilla. And on top of that, Diana was suffering with major depression and eating disorders due to Charles pointing out that her wrists looked chubby. Pro tip, don't ever comment on someone's body. On to number 5, problematic wedding guests. 3,500 people were on the guest list, including political figures from around the world. Charles was Queen Elizabeth's eldest son and the heir to the throne, therefore the guest list included obligatory world leaders as well as friends and family. And as savage as it may be for Charles to do this, his former girlfriend Camilla was also one of the guests. Camilla wore a gray suit and matching pillbox hat with a veil and was seated next to her sister. Her first husband Andrew was also part of the festivities, commanding the household cavalry escort for the newlywed Charles and Diana. The audacity to show up to the wedding as the groom's mistress? The story just writes itself. And to add to the fire, Charles even wore cufflinks to his wedding, which were gifted to him from Camilla. And just in case you were wondering why Charles never married Camilla in the first place, the royals did not approve of her since she had previously been married, which was frowned upon, especially for the future king of the country. But fast forward to 2005, Charles finally got his way and married Camilla, who is now queen. I guess this couple was meant to be. On to number 4, anger issues. The seemingly storybook romance turned out to be a nightmare, but one author claims things were much darker behind closed doors. Christopher Anderson has written a book about Queen Elizabeth's eldest son titled The King, The Life of Charles. He spoke to numerous palace insiders as well as those who've known the former Prince of Wales or worked with him closely over the years. His goal was to further investigate Charles's lonely childhood and military training, as well as several scandals surrounding his relationships that rocked the House of Windsor. The marriage between Charles and Diana became so volatile that royal protection officers were wary of all the weapons scattered around the palace. He has a huge temper, Anderson claimed about the king. I mean, it's an incredible temper. The tantrums constantly and throwing a boat jack at her. It's a heavy wooden device for putting on hunting boots, and it's made of iron and wood. He threw it at Diana's head and just missed her. It was Charles's former valet Kevin Stronach who alleged to Anderson that he was in the room when Charles, in the middle of an argument with Diana, grabbed a heavy wooden boot jack and threw it at her, missing the princess's head by inches, as quoted in the book. This relationship was so toxic from the beginning. The fact that it lasted 15 years is pretty sad to know. They both deserved better than that. Anderson wrote that during the marriage, Charles had sunk into a deep depression and thought he was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. He turned to one of his confidants, Arnold Goodman, and allegedly said, "I have nothing to live for." Goodman allegedly felt that Charles was showing the classic signs of depression. Charles not only believed he was trapped in a loveless marriage, but he feared that a divorce, if it could even be granted by the Queen, would have grave repercussions for his children, the royal family, and the monarchy itself. Number 3, royal wealth. Now that King Charles is living a king-size life, how can we pretend there aren't any regal secrets he's keeping from us? After inheriting the properties from his mother, Queen Elizabeth, Charles has been getting a lot more attention, and obviously we're gonna dig into that English wealth and their secrets. For a regular British citizen, any inheritance over $380,000 is taxed 40%. But King Charles doesn't have to pay anything on properties, jewels, and investments that are probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Whatever happened to eating the rich? The royal treatment is getting out of hand. Having all this money and privilege on top of not having to pay taxes? Crazy. The same document explains that the British Crown is also not legally liable for income tax or capital gains tax. Personally, I think the British people should overthrow the throne at this point because taxes should not be reserved for regular citizens. Or what if they flipped and only taxed the extremely rich? That's a society we should all be wanting to live in. Number 2, hiding details about their wealth. The royal family is under few requirements to disclose details of its wealth, but all I'm gonna say is if you want to find out, it's not too difficult to go all Sherlock Holmes on the family. The family's communications with the government are exempt from freedom of information requests. Their official papers are kept secret by Britain's National Archives for at least 50 years. But the lack of transparency has led anti-monarchy groups, including the Republic, to call the monarchy an unaccountable public institution that has the power, secrecy, and influence to willfully abuse its position. Without a change, many details of the royal family's private wealth may never be known. Facts about the Duchy of Lancaster's offshore investments were leaked back in 2017, and those detailed roughly $13 million in offshore accounts. I wonder what else can be revealed if more documents were suddenly leaked. We should get some more investigative work done on this family though. Other reports have suggested questionable foreign dealings or arrangements. King Charles was once accused of offering to help secure a knighthood for a Saudi national in response to a donation to his charitable foundation. Representatives of Charles denied an impropriety, but it still sounds a little suspicious and sketchy to me though. And finally, number 1, Princess Diana's letter. Paul, one of Diana's former butlers, said that the princess predicted her own passing in a car crash. That's spooky. Apparently she was so scared 10 months before she passed that she wrote to Paul saying that there was a plot made by a member of the royal family and that her car brakes would be tampered with and she would suffer serious head injuries. And all of this would be so that the Prince of Wales could get married again. The letter she wrote read, "I am sitting here at my desk today in October longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy. Camilla is nothing but a decoy." So what did they do with this letter, you ask? Well, they keep it in a very safe place. Will Charles ever elaborate on this super suspicious letter? Most likely not.
Number 10, the docuseries. We have all seen or at least heard about the 6-part Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, and let me tell you, the tea on these two, especially Meg, is hotter than ever. While it was back in 2020 that the couple stepped down from the throne to live a life away from their royal responsibilities, to have a quiet and normal life. We can't help but question why everything they've been doing is the exact opposite of quiet. The internet has been up in flames over Meghan's behavior in the docuseries, and some even feel as if it should just be titled Meghan because of her dramatic approach to topics that some do not feel deserved a whole series, especially if they wanted a life away from the press and media. Body language experts have revealed that Meghan's behaviors and actions show her as a manipulative narcissist who is using Harry's vulnerability against him and controlling him to do everything she wants. Others believe she wanted to step away from the royals because she was unable to control the narrative of the British press. That is some drama, and let me know in the comments below if you agree. Number 9, the Oprah interview. After the infamous Oprah interview dropped back in 2021, the couple has been accused of prolific lying, with lies being told about racism amongst other things. People can't help but wonder what is the truth and what is being exaggerated. After getting an award for heroism, royal expert Angela Levine has spoken about how they did not deserve it because of the things that they were saying in the interview. If you haven't watched the interview, there have been endless criticism on many things that has happened throughout the interview, from questionable body language to overdramatic recalls of personal situations. Number 8, mockery. Meghan mocking the royal traditions. Now, as many know, there is a scene in the series that shows Meghan doing an overly dramatic take of the royal curtsy she was to do when she met the Queen. As she is laughing it up, look over to Harry and notice his reaction, as he is staring at her as if he's annoyed with her mocking something that is a part of his tradition. Interesting. Seeing as he is uncomfy by the mockery, it is definitely not a good look for Meghan at all. Other than mockery, there have been several instances where Meghan chose to do what she preferred rather than respecting the rules of the royal family. Meghan's critics would say it was presumptuous of her to think that the centuries-old monarchy would suddenly change up its operations because of a newcomer. Meghan is not known to be someone who is going to change herself just to please the people around her. There was a convo where Meghan had to be reminded that she and Harry were not as high on the royal hierarchy as William and Kate Middleton, because Harry is only 5th in line to the throne while William will one day become king. Number 7, playing victim. Prince Harry's newly formed and deeply damaging anti-royal beliefs are being peddled by Meghan Markle, according to some people, including royal author Tom Boyer, who said this while speaking to American journalist Megyn Kelly. He started by branding the American very clever and added, "Don't think for a moment that she's not convincing quite a lot of people that somehow she was thrown to the wolves." Of course, that's completely untrue. In the first 3 episodes, Harry comes out and says there's the leaking of stories, meaning by the palace, and also the planting of stories. And he is getting ready to say in these next 3 episodes that the palace and its staffers, or whatever, were planting negative stories on him and her. If we look objectively at the couple since breaking away from the royal family, who has gotten the better end of the deal? Meghan Markle is living in Los Angeles, pitching Hollywood decision makers, voicing Disney Plus documentaries, and positioning herself as a woke cultural voice. Prince Harry has given his family the cold shoulder, cutting ties with his grandmother, father, and brother. He's reportedly been depressed and feeling down. The high points might have been when he was filmed reading Thomas the Tank Engine. It doesn't take a genius to figure out who's benefiting. The final straw was watching Prince Harry throw his grandmother and all she's accomplished for the Commonwealth over the past 65+ years under the bus just to provide Meghan Markle with yet another cause to pursue. As if that wasn't bad enough, he made a complete fool of himself by showing his lack of knowledge on the matter. Seems to me like Meghan haters are making it seem like it's Meghan's world and we're all just living in it. I'm not defending anyone, but making claims about situations you aren't a part of is very much giving fan behavior. Number 6, Princess Diana 2.0. Apparently, Meghan always wanted one thing in life, and that's to become a member of the British royal family. Now, she's never confirmed that, but her friends say that she has always had a fascination with the royals. According to some sources, this was all a part of Meghan's plan. She wanted to be a princess since she was a teenager. Her old pal once said she was always fascinated by the royal family. She wants to be Princess Diana 2.0 and she will play her role. But my advice to him is to tread cautiously. I'm not shocked at all. It's like she has been planning this all her life. She gets exactly what she wants and Harry has fallen for her play. Talk about an awful friend for outing Meghan like this, right? Number 5, brainwashed prince. Prince Harry has been called an unintelligent man who has been brainwashed by his wife into a rift with the royal family. Royal expert Tom Boyer made sensational comments against the Duke and Duchess of Sussex ahead of the release of Prince Harry's bombshell memoir and the couple's Netflix docuseries. He said Harry is brainwashed would be the politest way to say things. Not going along with it, he thinks he has been badly treated, but there is no doubt they are a great threat to the royal family. Boyer then continued, Harry is a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and really has nobody on who he could rely, which in the end is where Meghan stepped in. A needy man met by a woman who helped him with his needs. The author also claimed that Prince Harry and Meghan were left angry as ever after allegedly being snubbed by the royals at Queen Elizabeth's funeral in September that year. Number 4, not caring to learn about royal life. Within an interview with Oprah, Meghan claims she knew nothing about the life she was set to live with the love of her life, Prince Harry. According to a well-placed source, that was a wait for it blatant lie. Prince Harry and brother William's private secretary at the time had created an organized folder with information and contacts to help Meghan in this transition into royal life. But clearly she did not care to learn any of it, and on top of that accused the palace of not directing her through this journey. Sounds like a you problem, Meg. Another lie she had orchestrated was about not having her niece invited to the wedding. She had said was guidance through the palace, when in reality the press team was desperate for Meghan to have more family and friends at the wedding, but she simply didn't want her niece exposed to the media. Number 3, she doesn't follow tradition. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has never been one to follow royal tradition. From her outspoken feminism to her insistence on doing things her way, Meghan has always forged her own path. Her determination from royal norms has not changed since marrying Prince Harry and becoming a member of the royal family. In fact, Meghan's modern ways have reportedly caused major headaches and drama behind the palace walls. According to royal listeners, Meghan's refusal to blindly follow strict royal protocols and her desire to reinvent what it means to be a royal duchess has upset other family members. While Meghan's fans love her rebellious spirit, it seems her revolutionary ways may be putting strain on her marriage and role in the monarchy. Meghan would be wise to learn about some century-old traditions and realize that they exist for a reason. Even fairy tale princesses can't have it all their way. Number 2, Megxit. In a dramatic turn of events, it seems Megxit was not entirely Meghan's brainchild after all. According to royal insiders, Harry has been doing some soul searching and apparently regrets their hasty exit from the royal family. While he still stands by his wife, friends of Harry say Harry has started to realize the magnitude of his decision and how much he has given up. His military titles, the ability to represent the king, and even his relationship with brother William have all been affected. Some wonder if this means trouble in paradise for the Sussexes, or if Harry is simply grappling with the drastic changes in his life. Either way, it seems Megxit may not have been the liberation that Harry first thought, as he continues to wander through life under the disapproving gaze of his family and subjects. Perhaps every marriage has its growing pains, even for runaway princes and their duchesses. In our number 1 spot, we have activism. Many people are starting to believe Meghan's actions are far more performative than true advocacy. If you want to go and do something to help an underdeveloped region, is it necessary to bring cameras with you to record you doing a good deed? Meghan might be onto something, and we're starting to think the bigger picture is to show people that she is a good person who helps others while simultaneously using her status to get her way. Other times the cameras have been an issue. During the doc, when the couple was called out for using a royal family approved picture of them walking out to prove a point about them being hounded by paparazzi. On top of all this, Harry drew a comparison between Meg and his mother, the late Princess Diana. This obviously caused outrage, with some calling the comparison disgraceful and disrespectful. But the tea is that the use of these clips has led several former royal aides to hit out at Harry and Meghan, according to The Telegraph, who say the couple did not experience any incidents of press intrusion in any way comparable to Diana.
Number 10, attention to down there. One story about Prince Harry's frost-bitten genitals gets far too much attention in his memoir, and also made headlines before Spare even came out. Harry travels to the North Pole in advance of Prince William's wedding to Kate, and returns home with frost-bitten ears, cheeks, and todger. Upon arriving home, I'd been horrified to discover that my nether regions were also frostnit. That is literally a sentence from his memoir. He writes about thinking about Princess Diana's funeral and the people who were buried at Westminster Abbey for the wedding ceremony. Evidently, he is also contemplating his frostbite issues. He writes, I was in danger of becoming as anxious as the groom. Between these thoughts of mummy and death and my frost-nipped nether regions. What was the universe out to prove by taking my nether regions at the same time it took my brother, Harry also wonders. The reader is informed that Harry's genitals were oscillating between extremely sensitive and borderline traumatized. Shortly thereafter, Frostnipistan was the last place I wanted to be. Harry eventually sees a doctor and tells him that it will get better with time. One very close mate hired a seamstress to make me a bespoke cushion for down there. He writes, later when he sets out to the South Pole with actor Dominic West, who would later portray Charles in The Crown. It was made from pieces of the softest fleece and was square, supportive, and enough said. Yeah. Literally something Harry talked about in his memoir. Anyway, on to number 9, high on laughing gas. The fact that Prince Harry wrote about the birth of his son is not strange. Rather, the specifics he provided were fascinating. He, for instance, used Meghan's laughing gas. I took several slow piercing hits, he writes. Meghan laughed and rolled her eyes as she bounced on a huge purple ball, a well-known way to push nature. I took a few more blows and now I was also bouncing. A nurse tried to give Meg laughing gas when her contractions started to get stronger and faster. Nothing was left. I could see the nurse slowly forming the idea as she looked at me and the tank. Generous, the spouse had everything. I apologized gently, Meghan snickered, the medical attendant needed to chuckle and immediately changed the canister. Number 8, profiting off the family. Even though they aren't going to be making money as working members of the royal family, the couple has found other ways to collect their checks. Along with their highly controversial Netflix docuseries and the memoir Harry released, I have a feeling this couple has found their sweet spot when it comes to content the audience will pay for. And yep, you guessed it. It usually involves never heard before tea on the very private royal family. Their production company, Archwell Productions, signed the $100 million deal to make the Netflix series, as well as a $25 million deal with Spotify, where Meghan hosts a podcast and discusses real-life issues with celebrities. Even though they were not paid for the interview they had done with Oprah, it cost the royal family their reputation. Meghan and Harry chose to expose the royals in the CBS special, where allegations of racism were brought up, unfair treatment towards Meg, and even how they were cut off financially by the royals after stepping back from their responsibilities. As juicy as the memoir is, Harry doesn't seem to hold back his distaste for the relations the royals have with the British media. Harry even insinuated that the relationship the royals have with the press has dictated a lot of kinds of attention and headlines they've had, calling them an extended arm of PR for over 30 years. We already knew how much Harry disliked the paparazzi, especially after his mother's fatal car crash, so I guess there's no surprise that he decided to go in on the British media and their invasive tactics. But to be fair, I can't blame him for being annoyed with them. I can imagine how tiring it is to have to be careful of how you live to avoid making headlines as often as they already do. On to number 7, the docuseries. Since the backlash from the interview didn't seem to do anything to Harry and Meg, it was followed by this tell-all docuseries that dives into the personal lives of the couple and their experiences at the royal castle, which they felt was mandatory to share with the rest of the world. And just to be clear, this caused just as much, if not more, backlash, with more people questioning why the couple keeps sharing all these personal stories after claiming they want to keep their personal lives away from the media attention. Many people have questioned if this couple decided to drop this Netflix miniseries to make extra cash, since it doesn't seem the royal inheritances is enough to keep their family stable. And what would be better than milking the story of the royal family and exposing them for more money? Obviously, the royal family did not appreciate these attempts from the couple to bring them more attention while trying to give them a bad rep, but to be fair, the couple themselves don't have the greatest reputation among many people. It's all subjective. And then, of course, Harry targeted the British media and their attempts to exploit the royal family. During the 3rd episode of this series, Harry described the role of royal correspondents, those who specialize in coverage and analysis of the royal family for newspapers and tabloids. In the documentary, Harry says he was chased by paparazzi 30 or 40 times in his youth, particularly while attending school. He said the UK tabloid media believes the royal family is ours to exploit. Their trauma is our story and our narrative to control. During the opening episode, Harry says it's part of his responsibility as a member of the royal family to expose how the British tabloids operate. I feel as though being part of this family, it is my duty to uncover this exploitation and bribery that happens within our media. Well, you're not a working member of the royal family, Harry, and now it seems like you've joined the tabloids to exploit the royals. How ironic. Number 6, cutting family ties. That time when they announced their departure, Meghan and Harry surprised the royal family. The bomb that Harry and Meghan dropped early in the new year reportedly caught everyone, including the Queen, off guard. We have chosen to make a transition this year and beginning to carve out a progressive new role within this institution after many months of reflection and internal discussions, they wrote on Instagram. As senior members of the royal family, we intend to maintain our full support for Her Majesty the Queen while working toward financial independence. Number 5, twisting the truth. The couple claims to have given up a lot to start a whole new life, but did they? So far, most things they have been doing involve the fact that they haven't given up some aspects of the life they were once living. For once, the title of Harry and Meghan's foundation caused some royal drama because they were told they were no longer allowed to use royal Sussexes. They eventually came to an agreement that the title will be revised after the spring of 2020. Other ways it just doesn't seem that the couple has let go completely is by the fact that they are profiting off the grief they experienced from the royals and sharing it with people in different forms, like the series, interviews, and even the new memoir, Spare, which focuses greatly on how he dealt with all the royal drama, exposing his family and his experience in many incidences throughout the life he lived as a royal. Number 4, speaking of the memoir, the controversial memoir that was released earlier this year has made quite a few people question Harry's intentions. Highly sensitive information about family members is included, which obviously had not been discussed with the family members before. Things such as William being circumcised or Camilla being a villain just sounds like something Harry wanted to say to alter the way people look at them. The memoir seems like a stab in the back of his family, and it most definitely isn't a good look for Harry or even Meghan, who have come out more than once saying the family never supported them and how their staff was never looking out for them either. Number 3, frosty family complaints. It was a known fact that many did sympathize with the Sussexes' complaints about their cold reception in Britain and a few royal protocols that did not sit well with them. But some accusations against the palace and the press feel wild and over the top, which is not doing them any favors in the opinion polls either. According to sources, the Sussexes are now amongst the most unpopular public figures in Britain. Shocking, right? The only royal who is more disliked than both is Prince Andrew. Fox News columnist Lee Cohen suggested Meghan and Harry are on track to be more hated than the Duke of Windsor and Wallis Simpson. Cohen said, like the Windsors before them, the Sussexes have fallen out of favor in Britain for their indecorous behavior. But while the Duke of Windsor let his people down by being irresponsible, he and his wife did not seek the spotlight in any meaningful way, nor did they exist to be hell-bent to destroy the monarchy. Harry didn't seem to have any problem throwing his brother, father, and even grandmother, the recently departed queen, under a big red double-decker London bus. But can you blame him? Number 2, stripped of titles. Harry was stripped of his military titles and spending a lot of his life serving the military to losing the title passed on to him from his grandfather, Prince Philip. Tragic. Another role he will no longer serve is as Commodore-in-Chief for small ships and diving in the Royal Navy. Now their reputation is damaged, they don't have the support of a lot of people in the UK, and after their docuseries, Americans also feel a way about this couple. Sounds like they keep digging themselves in a deeper hole. And finally, number 1, everything Meghan and Harry no longer have. Let's summarize everything this royal couple has lost on their way out of the palace. We already know they have not been receiving any royal funds. As working royals, they used to receive 95% of their annual income from Harry's father, and that's an insane bag to fumble, but somehow they managed to not only lose that, but much more. Their security arrangements were also taken back. They lost a lot of the royal titles, the support of their family, and even fans who were once sympathetic to their situation. They can't even go to Frogmore Cottage anymore, and they have to repay the amount they used to renovate it after they stepped down. Starting off with number 10, the notorious mistress. According to Morton and Camilla's biographer Penny Juror, who described Camilla as the most notorious mistress in the world, both Diana and Andrew, Camilla's husband, were aware of the affair. In 1986, Diana also started a series of affairs, one of which was with Officer James Hewitt. During a 1995 interview, Diana confessed she was enamored with Hewitt, but their relationship ended in 1991. The public perception of Camilla was incredibly negative following Charles and Diana's divorce. Even before the royal divorce, questions linger about Prince Charles's future relationships, as the Church of England did not allow divorced people to remarry so long as their previous spouse was still living. Camilla was also not a suitable candidate due to her divorce. Reporters who covered the royals at the time speculated whether Charles will inflict Camilla on the country as queen, calling it an unwelcome prospect. Charles wanted to introduce Camilla to the world as his girlfriend shortly after the divorce, an effort that was waylaid by Diana's tragic passing in 1997. That's number 9, Spare. A few juicy stories from Prince Harry's memoir Spare were spilled in front of his limited time hour interview, maybe most remarkably the claim that his sibling, William, pushed him to the ground in an actual fight. I expected more stories about his stressed relationship with his sibling and his dad, King Charles, but Prince Harry, on the other hand, appears to have switched to an unexpected but not entirely novel narrative, calling attention to Queen Camilla. Anderson Cooper of CBS narrated Spare is anything but spare in its unflattering portrayal of the royal family, especially his stepmother Camilla, long cast as the famous third individual from Princess Diana and afterward King Charles's marriage. Throughout the long term, Camilla was gradually, at the end of the day, embraced by the king and the illustrious family as Charles's individual, as Prince Harry put it with a grin on an hour. However, Camilla faces criticism once again, resembling the evil stepmother from fairy tales. In Spare, Harry says that she was trying to get rid of her other women reputation and be seen as a legitimate royal wife by bargaining with the British tabloid media at his expense. On to number 8, Tampon Gate. A not-so-secret affair and a joke about tampons became Tampon Gate a decade ago. A shady scandal that wreaked havoc on the royal family, particularly on the current King Charles. A few royals and their connections have been tormented by discussions and terrible press, including the marriage of then Prince Charles and Princess Diana. A recorded call between Charles and Camilla, who was likewise hitched at that point, prompted what became known as Tampon Gate and pushed their relationship into the worldwide spotlight. Number 7, crowded marriage. Diana gave a tell-all interview to the BBC in 1995 in which she spoke openly about Charles's affair while admitting to her own affairs as well. She also discussed her health issues, including postpartum depression and bulimia, according to Town & Country magazine. The princess famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," referring to Camilla without naming her. The interview would later be revealed to have been obtained unethically by the BBC's Martin Bashir, but it still sent shockwaves through the royal atmosphere. The Prince and Princess of Wales authoritatively separated on August 28, 1996, and Diana was granted joint custody of her sons and her apartments at Kensington Palace in the divorce agreement. She surrendered her title, Her Royal Highness, yet kept the Princess of Wales honorific. On April 9, 2005, Charles married Camilla once more in a civil ceremony. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip didn't go to the service, however, they came to the gathering at Windsor Palace. When the late Queen passed away in September, Camilla was given the title of Queen Consort at her request. It was a sign of the late Queen's definitive endorsement of the relationship intended to facilitate Charles's progress to king. At number 6, phone call transcripts. In the wake of the separation announcement, multiple media outlets published the Tampongate tape transcript. Some outlets referred to the tape as Camillagate in reference to Charles's mistress. Others speculated whether the tape would prevent Charles from someday ascending to the throne, but obviously we know it didn't prevent that. The public was so interested that people could call a phone number to listen to the tape of the actual phone call. A full transcript of the call depicts Charles and Camilla playing the age-old lovers game of refusing to hang up the phone on one another at the end of the call. Number 5, confronting Camilla. As per Morton, Diana faced Camilla at a birthday celebration saying, "I know what's going on between you and Charles, and I just want you to know that. You've got everything you ever wanted, you've got all the men in the world fall in love with you, and you've got 2 beautiful children. What more do you want?" And Camilla replied, "I just want my husband." Boom. Then Diana ended the conversation by apologizing to Camilla for being in the way, saying, "It must be hell for both of you, but I do know what's going on. Don't treat me like an idiot." Number 4, the royal affair. This one is no big secret. The Princess of Wales was very much aware of the extramarital affair Charles and Camilla were having, but the couple still tried their hardest to conceal their relationship from Diana and the rest of the world. Camilla was regarded as a villain long before Diana and Charles filed for divorce. On top of that, she was resented up until Diana's untimely passing in 97. However, Camilla's life truly changed in the days following that incident. The then Duchess of Cornwall was not specifically held accountable for Princess Diana's misfortune. After Diana's passing in the car accident, they did, however, discover a newfound hatred for her greatest foe. And because of that hatred, Camilla had to hide for months. Number 3, the palace staff. Even Prince Charles's cleaning staff once kept his affair with Camilla a secret, or at the very least, they tried to. The Prince of Wales' affair with the Duchess of Cornwall, which occurred while Charles was married to Diana, is well known to royal family followers, and it's safe to assume that some members of the royal family are not happy with the fact that their affair got screen time on the crown, making it by far one of the biggest royal relationship scandals. In a well-known interview, the prince's valet Ken Stronach shared shocking details about Charles's affair, and was even fired because of his breach of confidentiality. Stronach claimed at the time that he scrubbed grass stains from Charles's PJs after the prince would sneak out of bed in the middle of the night to meet with Camilla. According to what he told the newspaper, Charles made love to Camilla in the bushes of his Highgrove mansion while Princess Diana slept inside. He was reckless and took significant risks. A source claimed that there was mud and muck everywhere following Charles's midnight romps, and it was obvious they'd been outside. Charles even made sure his staff made his bed look like he'd slept there by ruffling it up. It was very elaborate, but shockingly, no one was fooled by it. The valet even claimed he'd become ill as a result of the strain of keeping Charles's secrets. Number 2, the worst kept secret. Their split in 1992 and divorce in 96 allowed his open affair with Camilla, which was the monarchy's worst kept secret and one of their main disagreements. While still married, Diana and Charles started seeing other people, and Diana had a number of relationships while Charles remained with Camilla. And finally, number 1, the unwelcome mistress. The British public's acceptance of Camilla as Charles's lover was put on hold after Diana's passing. And even though it seemed illogical, Diana's passing made Camilla a supervillain in the royal saga. She was compelled to go into hiding for months after her party was postponed. OK magazine reported that royal correspondent Judy Wade stated shortly after Diana's passing, "The prince must keep a safe distance from Camilla." She continued, "He'll be toast if Camilla is seen anywhere near his home in the next 6 months." he needs to keep his distance from her. It's always crazy when it comes to Camilla or really any royal drama, but let me know what you think in the comments below if you think Camilla should still be seen as one of the most hated. I mean, she is queen now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy royal updates, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.